Welcome to Unspoken Conversations. Your words have power. Together, we will have a multi-generational conversation on topics that are considered taboo, risky, controversial, but most of all, thought-provoking.
Hello, everybody. I'm back.
How y'all doing?
I have been gone for a good little while. I know y'all miss me. I know. I think I appreciate it. Let me first offer up my sincere apologies. It was not because I didn't want to be here, but if many of you remember, this platform was designed to have a multi-generational conversation with people. And I had like two co-hosts. So first of all, let me say it's not me. I know I can keep a co-host, but life be lifing, and people have things to do. And my last two co-hosts were unable to fulfill their obligations. So yeah, I'm hiring. This is a non-paid gig. I'm just going to say that. But I am looking for a co-host. I would like my co-host to again be not in the same generation as I. So preferably a millennial or a Gen Zer. And I would like that person to also be a male. Reason being, women, regardless of our generations, we tend to think kind of alike. And I think it's important to get the male perspective on things. So again, I'm hiring, looking for a co-host. So if you're interested, just let me know. So want to first thank my guests today. So again, I will operate or serve in the space as a moderator. Jayla and Thomas, they wanted to have this conversation. They felt like this was a conversation that warranted a discussion. And so we have Jayla, who is, listen, Jayla is so committed. I just adore her so much. She is so smart, so bright. And she is literally getting off of a plane as we speak and making her way to the car, but she is here. So she's on mute right now. Once she gets in the car, she'll pop in. But then you also have her fiance Thomas. Hey Thomas.
Hey, how you doing?
Thomas just moved to Charlotte. Welcome to Charlotte. But they come to us by way of Maryland. So welcome. And then we have Jayla's dad, Dwayne. Hey, Dwayne, it is awesome to meet you. He is also up in Maryland, but he's a little closer to my age. So, but as a male, he's going to get the male perspective. And so I'm excited. I appreciate you for joining us and engaging in this conversation. So with that being said, let me first say hello to some guests. We have Charles and Michelle, and I have someone who is earning, not really sure who that is, but they said, hey fam, so hey fam. Yep, that's it so far, but we're excited. I'm believing that this is going to be rather lively audience, because this appears to be a very sensitive topic for a lot of people. So let's get started. So let me first say this. Yeah. So I already went and voted. So I'm out the mix. I already went and voted, and of course I'm not getting ready to share my vote, but that's it. But I did watch earlier today. I watched this a Black Men's Summit that D.L. Hughley hosted. It was a couple of days ago, and so I took some notes, and so I got a list of questions, and so I will say to my audience members, please please feel free to jump in, offer up your comments, questions, concerns, or what have you. Again, this is an open forum. This is a no judgment zone. We're not here to persuade anyone, in either direction. However, we are definitely open for what I would consider to be, maybe opposing views. I'll say it like that. If you're a Trump supporter, hey, by all means, state your claim. I can't tell you you should or should not be. That's on you. If you are a Harris supporter, then by all means state your claim. I'm not here to say you should or you shouldn't be, and nor is anyone else on the panel. But I think the greatest concern is just really trying to understand. It seems like every election they're always trying to galvanize the black man's vote. Um, and so this election is no different than the prior elections, right? But it's a little different, I think, because if it would almost appear as though, like they've always done, is attempt to pin black men against a black woman. It's just my perspective. It's not right or wrong. That's just from this way I sit. That's what I see. But with that being said, I know Jayla had you had some questions, or you knew where you wanted to direct this conversation from. So I see you're settled now. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to you. And again, I will serve as moderator and help facilitate questions and comments. So Jayla, go ahead, take it away, love.
Hi. Um,
How you doing?
so actually, I wanted to discuss Black men's support for Kamala Harris, and I actually have changed perspective a little bit after campaigning and attending rallies. I have had a lot of conversations personally with Black men and talking to Black men about it, young and older. And I found that a lot of Black men have some qualms or concerns about electing Kamala for president. And I think a lot of them come from fear or
Okay, so I know the last thing Jayla said is that she believes a lot of it comes from fears.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like a lot of it comes from unknowing. From what I heard from talking to other people, other black men related to that topic, is a lot of people are scared to necessarily vote for Kamala due to the fact of they don't know her track record. A lot of people say that she was the vice president to Biden, and they look at the sum of Biden's work as if that is the sum of Kamala's work. However, I feel as though you have to look at both of their works as separate entities. Kamala hasn't been president yet. However, as a vice president, you don't have too much power as a vice president. The president has the power. And even if you take Joe Biden was Obama's vice president, and a lot of people say that I feel like the consensus is Obama was a great president, but a lot of people have their grievances with Biden. But going off of that logic, it would make sense that if you have a problem with Kamala being, she didn't do too much as a vice president, in that same sense, that would mean Joe Biden as Obama's vice would be in turn a very great president. I'm not saying Joe Biden was a bad president. In my opinion, I think he was a good president. But the thing is, you have to take into account, you have to understand that everybody is different. They are different. You don't know how somebody is going to be president until they're actually in office. They're not just a duplicate of whoever was the president at the time when they were the vice president. So, those are
I
my
agree. I agree, and I also wanted to add on to that point that Kamala is the only president that has worked in all three branches of government and the only qualified candidate that has worked as a DA, a senator, attorney general, and a vice president before running for her presidency.
Mhm.
I agree. Dwayne, you got a take on that?
No, I agree too. She has the best resume than mostly all of the presidents that have served as president.
Mhm.
But that's also what black women and black people in general are always taught to have is to work twice as hard as the white person, or to be twice as impressive on a resume as a white person if you're going to be applying for a job. So that's not really impressive. That's actually more proven that she actually is black. If you know, if anything, she the work ethic shows. I just think that the apprehension that most black men have of her is coming from a place where if I can't be the president, then she shouldn't be the president, and it's really more so of what former President Barack Obama has said to the black men at this men's particular summit, that if it's just the fact that you don't want to vote for her because she's a woman, just say it. I mean, misogyny is what it is. That's
Mhm.
a large part of society. You have men running society. You can't really, look, even in the NFL, you don't even have black quarterbacks or black owners for that most part, because they're seen as inferior or can't think straight. So it's
Mhm.
like you're asking a black person, you're asking white people to go with uh, a black person to run the free world, and they've never been free. So how do they know how to run
Mhm.
a free world?
Mhm.
They're still
Mhm.
not free, and they would have to admit that they're not free in order to vote someone like that in. And so it's the change, like former President Obama has said, is here, and we was ready for it, and we voted for President Obama in 2008. We're in 2024. We should not still be dealing with this anymore. The fact of the matter is, she's way more qualified. I mean, you could keep the 34 convictions, 32 convictions on there, or take it off the resume. It doesn't matter. She's still she's 4 times qualified than her opponent just by the bankruptcies alone. You
Well,
understand what I'm saying? Like,
how about
we're not talking about what's like a I don't know, because it's so close. Everybody is saying the same thing, and we don't get no change anyway. I get it, but the choice is more clearer in terms of people are asking you to vote for them. They're asking you for your vote, and who are you going to give your vote to? Someone who is being ignorant towards you, or someone's being nice towards you? And then you got all these other folks saying, on the other side saying, oh, the person that's being nice to you, they really talking behind your back, but you don't hear them talking behind your back. Only people that's here that you know that they talking behind your back is them telling you that they talking behind your back. You don't hear it nowhere else. And then you got the other side saying nothing for you at all. And you're just supposed to have faith that there's something in it for you somewhere along the line, even though they're not mentioning it, even though, the reason why they're not mentioning anything for the LGBTQ, the reason why they're not mentioning anything for the African Americans is because we're not their voting base. They're speaking to their voting base. They are the white political party, just like they call the Democratic Party the Black Democratic Party. So there's really nothing wrong with Joe Biden saying, if you don't vote for him, you're not black, because this is the Black Party. If anybody's going to have anything in your best interest, it's going to be the Democratic Party, which is the reason why people go to the white party, because they can't get along with the They can't get along with doing anything for minorities. They can't get along with doing anything for the exception. They can't get along with doing anything for the black people. They got to get along with doing things for the white people, because when they see white, they associate that with good. They got to do things for the people that are associated with the development of capitalism and the development of keeping foot on people's necks, or just vote for the party of being contrary. You know, just because you want to be opposite, just because you want to be different, you're going to go vote for this party. All of this is nuisance, is nonsense, and that's what makes up the Republican Party. Bottom line, I don't care if you're conservative, liberal, independent, whatever. You're over here on the Democrats, and then you got these far-right people who are totally against everything that anybody individually believes for, and their interpretation and belief in God is distorted. So you can't get along with nothing. At the end of the day, if you go with the Republican Party, you're going with the KKK. You're going with white nationalism. You're going with everything that remains white and keeps everything pure, as white should be, you know, in their subjective, you know, perspective. But in that perspective, it doesn't give any benefits or any interest.
Oh, Dwayne froze up on us. Well, so I wanted to comment really quick. I've been putting up different comments from our audience, and again, I thank everyone for continuing to engage. So I will say this. Dwayne has spoke earlier about Kamala's qualifications. So when Trump got in office, he had 0, and so they didn't have no problem putting him in there. So if we're talking about qualifications, that part just went out the window. So I mean, I wouldn't necessarily hang my hat on that. Hopefully Dwayne will be able to get back on. Looks like he had his connection got interrupted. Also, so one thing I wanted to point out. So someone asked me last year, do I not support the Republican Party because of their ideology, or do I not support the Republican Party because of the players, basically, in the Republican Party? And I felt like that was a valid question, and I had to actually ask myself. I had to, really do some searching about my views and opinions and what have you. And what I've come up with, I am not a all the way to the left liberal, and I'm not an all the way to the right conservative. I actually happen to fall smack dab in the middle, because there are some things on the conservative side that I actually agree with, just as there are some things on the Democratic side that I actually agree with. And so when I thought about that question, I don't necessarily have an issue with the quote unquote Republican ideology. The problem is not the Republican Party itself and what they stand for. It's the players within the Republican Party that give the Republican Party a bad name. If we go back historically, right, blacks were Republicans. And so I think, we can't necessarily forget that. But as it has been since we were brought over as slaves, it's always been one ethnicity against the other ethnicity. Everything is always, it's either a black thing, it's either a white thing. At the end of the day, whatever happens, it ain't gonna just happen to blacks, and it's not just going to happen to whites, and it's not just going to happen to Hispanics. It's going to happen to all of us, and the only ones that will be left out is the 1% who don't fall into that bucket. So I just wanted to clarify that, and really quick go to some of our comments that
Can I
we
add
have.
something?
Absolutely.
I just wanted to add that I agree with a lot of the things. I think that the far right extremists have tainted the Republican name a little bit to the point
Mhm.
that now people associate them together. I think that the Republican
Mhm.
Party, a lot of them are disgusted by Trump's actions. Yesterday at the rally, I've seen a lot of Republicans for Trump. And I also, while campaigning, I've seen a lot of people that have been registered as Republican voting for Kamala. And a lot of, even we had some Republican leaders come out at the rally yesterday speaking up against Trump. And I have not been a Republican. I've never been a Republican, but I do agree with falling in the middle with agreeing with some of their policies. I agree with some Democratic policies, and I did want to respond to some comments as well. Where I think Vanessa Griffin said that nobody paid attention to the role of the vice president until Kamala started
Mhm.
running. And I agree with that completely because as a Black woman, I feel that we are hyper scrutinized for our actions. Trump is allowed to cuss, he's allowed to name call, he's allowed to insult people, he's allowed to be unqualified, have more of a head start, and not have anything to back it up, but not be scrutinized in the same way that Kamala is. And I
Mhm.
also wanted to respond to Poppy Lobbins. Uh, you,
Mhm.
I just wanted to respond to the part where he said facts, not emotions. I do not agree with that at all because to be a very well-rounded person, you have to include facts and emotions. You cannot
Mhm.
just you cannot exclude either or from the conversation because to exclude emotions would to be worse is to be an insensitive person. So
Mhm.
in order to make the most well-rounded decisions and consider nuance and things, you have to include emotions. You're not more of a better person if you leave out either or. So I just wanted to respond to that one as well.
Mhm. So really quick, back to something else that so Poppy Love is his name is Charles. But something else that he has said. So like your dad was saying how Mala didn't have any power and what have you, and he wanted to point out that she had tie-breaking power, which is true. However, it wasn't like she, every single time that there was a vote that hit the House and the Senate that she had to break a tie. So it wasn't it was whenever it was needed. She was not always consulted on everything. She didn't have to break ties, every time they were in session. He also says that her border policies were horrible. So, Thomas, I'm gonna let you comment on that with regards to her border policies being horrible.
Yeah.
Because if we go back again to Vice President, did she have the ability to set border policies?
Yeah, no. Kamala, she doesn't have the ability to make laws nor enforce them, obviously. But far as border policy goes and everything, that comes down to if you feel as though the border policies were, horrible, that would come down to Joe Biden and the process in making the laws. Her power is tie breaking laws. If it came down to it and it was a 60-40 vote, her hands are tied. She can't get involved in that. So I understand that, but the thing is, with vice presidency, she only has but so much power. She's really there in case something happens to the president and she steps in. So her power is limited in that aspect of passing laws and things of that nature. That comes down to the president when we're talking about border policies and things of that nature. So.
I also wanted to add on to what Thomas said. Trump stated that he would build a wall and that he would make Mexico pay for it, and no one holds him responsible for him building a fence, and we paid for it. Every time that he makes a promise or statement that he will do, it's not followed up or corrected or looked over with a fine-tooth comb, and he's able to make statements that are not true. And we hold Kamala to things that she had the inability to do. When she was an attorney general, she had no complaints. She did her job. When she was a senator, she had no complaints. She did her job. But when she's a vice president with limited power, most of her power lies in helping direct the president to meetings and help. She was president for 4 hours when he went into surgery. She can't do much, but based on her track record, she has shown a lot of success. And we're basing somebody that's never been a president versus somebody that we've seen have one term that failed miserably. He inherited a booming economy from Obama for his first 2 terms. And we were already headed towards a recession with his deals on oil and with his deals with China. And then we had a pandemic, which Obama gave us stimulus, Biden gave us stimulus, but the only person that put their name on it was Trump. And he refused to give it to us. He held up the process while 17% of Black Americans, which 16% out of that 17% were unemployed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let's get back to the topic of this conversation, with it as it relates to Black men and either support or not support for Kamala. So Charles says Blacks voted for Trump as well, and so that was before, and so a whole bunch of Blacks are going to vote for Trump again. And it's because why? Because see, now if you say you're voting for Trump because you tend to just simply vote according to your party line, then that's one thing. Because again, if you're a Republican and you're going to vote according to your party line, it's like being being a Bills fan, and no matter what the Bills is doing, you still support the Bills. So as a Republican, you're going to still support Republicans. I get that, but when you say you're a Republican and you support Trump, as a Black man, I'm trying to understand, what that is and why, and what is the argument for supporting someone who clearly doesn't care anything about us. And let me say that us is not just Black people, Hispanics, and Asians and Indian. It's anybody who don't have money and don't have power. So yeah, someone,
I wanted
especially in
to,
the audience, can chime in on that part. Blacks voting for Trump, Black men voting for Trump against Kamala.
I wanted to add on to that point that that's what this conversation is about. There are some not only people, Black men voting for Trump. There are a lot of Latinos and Asian Americans voting for Trump, and a lot of it is based in 67% of the population of the U.S. population believes that the Biden-Harris administration is responsible for inflation, which is not true. a lot of people have fundamental misunderstandings of the economy, of the climate that we're in, and especially when there's language barriers to that, there's educational barriers to that, and there's also social barriers where people can't have access to others that are having these type of conversations, or they're just completely unaware. I've ran into so many people, especially black black men that are undecided. They don't know who to vote for, and they're at a crossroads, thinking that Kamala and Trump are on an equal playing field, when in fact they're not. Only one of only one of them is a convicted felon. Only one of them has basically no experience before they became president or was in any type of politics. And only one of them has actually worked in all three branches of government and has a plan instead of concepts of a plan. Kamala has created a plan for black men and black people, including others, which entails making it easier to be a first-time home buyer, creating more opportunities with higher paying jobs that require less qualifications, opening up lines for trade schools and more opportunities for people that go into the trades to make more money, giving fully forgivable loans for black men and other people that want to start their own businesses, investing in small businesses and small businesses for black people, lowering the racial wealth gap that was created and started during slavery that we are still recovering from. The U.S. made $42.6 trillion in compound interest from slavery, and it widened in the 60s with Jim Crow redlining, and we're still getting it widened to this day. And Kamala is the first president that has ever stated explicitly that she would like to tackle that, and has said it out of her mouth, and has made documents and cross-referenced it with economists. And economists have reviewed her economic plan. Economists have reviewed Trump's economic plan and said that he will drop us 8.9% the GDP, whereas Kamala will not increase inflation, and she will not cause us to go into a recession or a Great Depression, which Trump's plan will. Trump wants to add on tariffs and a 20% sales tax to all goods. If he puts on tariffs on foreign goods, that means that domestic and foreign vehicles will go up. Your $30,000 Toyota will be $90,000. And domestic vehicles will have to hire the MSRP to keep up with the going rate. That means your $3 socks will be $9. Your $1 pencil will be $12. These are not consistent numbers, but Walmart and other big corporations have already stated that they are ready to increase their price if these tariffs are put in place. There are billionaires that are stating, do not put Trump in office. He will crush our economy. He will crush our society as we know it in America. There are Republicans saying, don't put him in office. There are people on his previous campaign saying, do not put him in office. When he was in office and January 6th happened, his own members said that he heard that Ashley Babbitt was shot, that he keeps bringing up Ashley Babbitt was shot, and he refused to call it off. He didn't send out a tweet. He didn't go on the news. He didn't tell anyone to stop, although he knew people were dying, off of his call to come to protest. They brought a noose for the vice president, Mike Pence, if he didn't concede to saying that Trump won the election. And he refused to concede because he knew it was not true, and he didn't want to put the Constitution in jeopardy because he believed in his patriotic values. So Trump is willing to let his own party, his own people, his vice president, all look bad, all die, just to get his ego stroked. So that's just what I have.
Yes, yeah. I have sent a link so that so he's Poppy Lovis in the chat, but his name is Charles. So Charles, I've sent you a link so that you could come in and engage in this conversation. But let me say this, that again, we're the goal here is not to persuade anybody, to vote for or against. We're just trying to understand why so many Black men are disenchanted with Kamala Harris. So regardless to what Obama did or did not do, right, that's really not applicable right now. Regardless to what what Biden did or did not do, that's still not applicable right now. We're literally talking about do you think that she is qualified enough to be president of this country versus Trump? If you think Trump is more qualified, make the argument for Trump on what Trump stands for, does, has not done, whatever, right? Not on what, all the other, players, non-players, make the argument for Kamala, what she has or hasn't done, right? But when it comes down to this ballot, right, you're not going to be sitting there saying, well, Obama did this and Biden didn't do this and this, that, and other. It's about these two people, and this conversation is about why are Black men disenchanted, or maybe they're not disenchanted, but there is a narrative out there right now that Black men are disenchanted with Kamala. So that's what this that's really what this discussion is about, and that's what we're trying to understand. Because at the end of the day, who am I to say if Dwayne says, right, that he doesn't want to vote for her because she a woman, then that's his God-given right to say he don't want to vote for her because she's a woman. If he want to say that he doesn't want to vote for her because he doesn't feel like she's qualified, that is his God-given right to say that that he feels that. But we're just trying to engage in this conversation as to why are we thinking that, because there's a narrative that's being painted that is saying that Black men are against her, and I don't think that that's 100% accurate. And based on this summit that I just heard today, I really don't think that that's one that's accurate. But I will tell you some of the things that some Black men are saying. So one of them is sexism, that they just simply don't want to vote no woman into office. They don't feel like a woman is qualified to run this country, period, point blank. They don't care what color she is. Another thing is that because some Black men believe that or the narrative has been painted, right, that she threw thousands of Black men into prison for selling for marijuana possession. According to the actual record, it was 45 men, and all of them were not Black when she was a prosecutor. But at the end of the day, even if it was the case, whatever that law was at that particular time, as a prosecutor, she had to follow that. She had to do her job.
Well, can I say something to that?
Because she did it, I mean, if the prosecutor was white, it would still, same thing would have been happening. So why does it matter that she did?
Can I say something to that?
Yes, sir.
I would just say that the crime bill that Hillary Clinton voted for, that Bill Clinton voted for, that under that crime bill, Kamala Harris put so many people behind bars. That was a bipartisan bill. And it just seems as though it's really unfair that when it comes down to politics, that the Democrats take the full burden of being tough on crime when it was the Republicans' ideology that kept winning presidencies and elections based on being tough on crime. So in order for Bill Clinton to steal the election from a one-term serving George H. Bush, he had to appear tough on crime. So that means he had to go along with a bill that was proposed by the Republican Party. That was a bipartisan bill. So the stuff that they still continue to try to stick Biden for, Kamala for, Clinton for, Hillary Clinton for, is just rhetoric. All it is just an excuse to not vote for their political party. If they recognize and identify as Republicans, God bless them at this point, because the Republican Party has shown nothing but racism, division, tea parties, nationalisms, MAGAs. I mean, they got nicknames for the stuff that they represent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Democratic Party has remained stable and has remained rational and logical. Doesn't matter, like, again, before I got cut off, doesn't matter if you're liberal or conservative in your ideology. You can vote for either one in the Democratic Party. Because there was a time when you go back to George Herbert Bush where you could literally vote Dukakis or Bush, and it's pretty much the same candidate. And the Democratic and the Republican Party was pretty much one of which. Wherever the blacks went, the white people went the opposite way. The blacks originally was with the Republican Party, and the whites was with the Democratic Party. Soon as the blacks went over to the Democratic Party with Kennedy and them, the whites went over to the Republican Party. And so it's been like that forever, because in the end of the day, when you're trying to vote for your interests, you're voting with your skin color in this country that we live in. And they try to pretend like it's not racism, but for real, you want to vote with the party that you best identify with, because you know that this country is about color. You may not be as an individual about color, but this country is. And you know, if you vote for the Democratic Party, you're voting for more of the best interests of people of color and everybody of every nationality, sexuality, age, group, or anything, religion, all of that is incorporated. But if you vote for the Republican side, you're voting for one way. You're voting for evangelism. You're voting for Christianity, hard right Christianity. One interpretation of what defines life. You're talking about hypocrisy in the government, to where you don't believe in big government, but you believe in giving certain things to the government. You don't believe in socialism, but you still believe in socialism. So it's like where it benefits you, the rich, even if you're not rich, but you're white and you have the chance of being rich because of being white, you're going to vote that way. Because at the end of the day, you could be poor, but knowing that in your heart you voted with the vote that supports your skin color. And that's just the bottom line to it.
But
back in the 40s, back in the 30s, we were called the Republican Party was called the Black Party. Same thing during the 60s with the Democratic Party. So sometimes it's about not listening to what these people are actually saying and just going with who has your best interest. And in this particular scenario with this vote, the black men who feel that they have a bigger connection with Trump, they have more of a disconnection with their own community. And those are a bigger percentage than we give credit to. We like to think that that's a small 12% of our population, but really it is 22 to 27% of black men. They just don't tell it to you. They don't, a lot of the black men who are not quote unquote political, they don't get involved in all of that stuff. They get involved in it. They just don't want to tell you that they affiliate with the Republican Party. They're scared to.
So Dwayne, real quick, Thomas, I want you to comment to what Dwayne just said. But before you do that, Jayla, can you if that wasn't on when you were commenting about the Republican Party and where you were falling at. And I think that I think you brought up a really valid point, and I would like for him to hear what you said with in regards to um lining up with that group that best represents us.
I agree with most of what my dad says as far as voting for your best interest, because most people are one issue voters. And racism is inherently a system. It's something that was created in the 18th century, and anything that ends in ism is a system. It's not systemic racism and individual and industrial. It's all the same thing. And
Mhm.
some people don't think of other people. And there is something to say about having conservative values or traditional values, but that is not where the Republicans are at right now. And I think that some people that are more outspoken and have taken this very far extremist right wing ideology have tainted the name of being a Republican to the point where other Republicans that have been in the party for years, that have worked in Congress and Senate and all of these different branches of government are saying, don't put Trump in office. He does not represent us. We don't even want to associate ourselves with being a Republican. I saw so many Republicans for Trump, people that were once Republican, now they're voting for Kamala. They're saying, "Oh, she's a one-off, but I have to vote for her. Don't put a Trump sign on my yard. Don't give me a shirt. I don't support MAGA. They are making us look like a disgrace." And Trump has stated out of his own mouth that if he were ever to run for president, that he would run as a Republican because he thinks they're dumb. And some people think that, oh, Trump only cares about white people or he only cares about people. He doesn't care about anyone. Trump stated that he cares about his supporters. He allowed a Trump supporter to get shot in his honor and die on January 6th, and he talks about her in all of his debates and all of his rallies about Ashley Babbitt, and said that it was a police officer that should have never been there, and he was hyper aggressive. But then he turns around and says, I want to give full immunity to all police officers. But no matter what they do on their job, they can escape consequences. So that doesn't make any sense, and that's cognitive dissonance, because how can a white person, a white woman, get shot and it was a bad police officer, but a black man or a black woman can get shot and there's no consequences? They're always right. If you can be always right, then there is no incentive to do good, to work out of good faith. If
Teach,
you
can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, we can finally hear you. But
Yeah, I
hold
can't
on.
get the camera to work though.
Oh, well, that's okay. As long as we can hear you. But hold on, Jayla was talking. Go ahead, Jayla.
um yeah, so basically what I was saying is he tries to appeal to the white or the poor white folks, but that's a tired rhetoric. That's a tired thing that has happened in the when slavery was a thing. The leaders would say to poor white people, "Well, yes, we have slaves, but in you're poor, but at least you're not black."
Hmm.
And they still do it to this day. Well, the economy's bad and you're low class. You may be in a trailer park, or you may have really bad funding for your school, but at least you're not black. But at least your children will be safe. At least your children can walk and not be hypersexualized or adultified or seen as a 12-year-old, seen as a grown man. At least your kids can have grace and cop out and say that their mental health was bad when they commit a crime. But black children don't have that same luxury. Latino children don't have that same luxury. Asian children may be the model minority, but they don't have that luxury either, because that's a lot of work to keep up with that man.
Mhm. Mhm. Thomas, can you go ahead and add to
Yeah,
that?
I want to speak on the storming the Capitol situation. To me, I feel as though with that storming the Capitol situation, I feel as though that, in my opinion, that situation was just pure hate. In my opinion, far as like, far as everything that happened, President Trump, he ordered, people to storm the Capitol and everything like that. But if any of those Trump supporters was a person of color, a black person, anybody, they wouldn't have made it anywhere near the White House. They wouldn't have made it to the grass without there being some type of violent act done. Like, it would have been some kind of violent act that would have happened to a lot of people. I just feel as though I just feel like it was pure hate. And I feel as though a lot of the people that vote for Trump, it's a little deeper than it is about the policies, but it's a little deeper than just the policies. When you voting for Trump, you know what I'm saying, you're voting for the hate that he's spreading. Um, the thing is how gets on stage, how he talks about people, how he bashes our community and stuff like that. That's it's a lot of hate. That storming the Capitol, it wasn't directly, a black person getting, shot or anything like that, but him allowing white people to storm the Capitol without anything happening to him, that breathes the way for more stuff to happen, far as police brutality, far as, you know us black people getting lynched, or things of like any racial thing that happens. This just is basically saying he's enabling it. If as a white person, if you do something, you won't get the same consequences as a black person that will do something. So he's like, with that storming the Capitol, it's not just that people storming the Capitol, it's deeper than that. He's showing that the white people, the people that vote for Trump, the people that are at the rallies, the people that are very like hardcore racists that want to do things to black people, that feel as though like if something happens, they want to physically do harm to people. He's basically showing them that, what I'm saying, you're good. If you do something, you're above the law. We're not gonna, the same stuff that happens to regular folk won't happen to you. So I just feel as though with that storming the Capitol thing, it's just deeper than that. And I feel as though a lot of people we can't kind of forget that happened. It wasn't just it just wasn't, people were mad storming the Capitol. The message that was sent by that was, this is, as a white person, if you do something, you're above the law. And in turn, if you do something to a black person or anything like that, you're above the law. So I just feel as though with that storming the Capitol, I feel like people need to just be more aware of what the deeper meaning behind what happened that day. It wasn't just people just storming the Capitol. So I
But
just want to speak on that. And
Jayla has said something earlier about how because of because of what basically what Trump has done and all of his right wing followers, that they have changed basically changed the ideology of the Republican Party,
yeah,
because this is the Republican Party, the so-called Republican Party that we have right now is not the same Republican Party that they've had for past several decades. And I think if we all be honest, this is something completely different. But if I'm not mistaken, when Trump was president, he said this was a new Republican Party.
1 second.
And so, with that being said,
Miss
this
Letitia.
new Republican Party is not the same Republican Party, right? That was like in the 40s and in the 50s, and it's that new Republican, and so the Republicans that you see that are abandoning ship, right, are because they don't want to be part of this so-called new Republican Party, and so that, and I think that's what a lot of Black people need to understand, right? You may call yourself affiliated with the Republican Party, that's fine, but with the Republican Party that they have at play right now is not the one that you actually signed up for. And I think that they're not, that people are not realizing that it's not the same party. is a completely different party. You know, we talking about a party who has devised a 900-page manifesto, right? That ain't for nobody except for that 1%. So you can vote the Republican Party, but please know you're not voting. That's not the same party that you signed up for, unless you just signed up for it recently. If you just signed up for it recently, then I think you know exactly what you just signed up for. But those who have been, Republicans for years or what have you, if truth be told, if they really stop and think about it, that's not the same. That's not the same uh, party. So really quick though, so Dwayne, I keep muting your mic because you're getting a lot of feedback from
I'm
you. But
sorry.
when
Can
you
you
get
hear me?
ready, when you get ready to speak, I'll
Is it
you
still?
can
Is it still doing it? Is it still doing it?
yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Let me.
Um yes,
I
yes.
wanted
So
to add something.
a lot of the audience, they're getting all that
The
feedback. I'm sorry,
feedback.
Jayla.
I
Yeah.
wanted to add something to the storming the Capitol situation. I just wanted to add a different perspective that I haven't heard, but I think is a
Hello?
very big message that
We can hear you, Pop. Hold on.
Yeah, I apologize. This thing keeps cutting off. Sorry.
Okay. Okay,
I
hold
just wa-
on.
I just wanted to
Go
add
ahead,
to,
Jayla.
yeah, to the storming the Capitol situation. Even though it brought a lot of hate in our country and it enabled a lot of things. Besides that, it shows people from other countries that we have division within our own country, that we have a lack of security, that people are able to not only be on the premises of the Capitol, get inside of the Capitol, assault officers, assault members of military, etc., with no consequences. Just imagine somebody from a different country that would want to invade us. They're looking at us and saying their own people are invading them and are basically committing terrorist acts against their own country. So I just wanted to add that as well because I know a lot of people from other countries watch our news and watch our politics, but we as Americans aren't, we're not as socially aware as other people. I've talked to people from Europe. I've talked to some people from Africa, and they'll say, "Oh, we watched your debate last night,"
Hmm.
and I honestly can say I'll look at the biggest global news, but I don't follow other countries' politics with a fine tooth comb like other people do with America. And as Americans, we don't realize how privileged we are. And yesterday I attended a Kamala rally, and out of my 22 years of life, I went on about my life, not really taking in the fact that I live in America. And I told Thomas this yesterday was the first day I ever felt proud to be an American, that I looked at the flag and I didn't feel like I didn't belong here. I saw white
Hmm.
people, gay people, um, elderly people, so many people that have so much love. Everybody was kind. I brought my daughter there. The messages that were there, the speeches that were given, I had chills down my spine. I felt so accepted as a person. I felt like everybody was accepted and seen. And with campaigning, I've noticed a lot of people that come in with the MAGA hats or the red Donald Trump shirts and Trump 2024 on their bumper sticker. They're very hostile, they're very hateful, they're very paranoid. They'll scream at you from across the parking lot without even knowing what information you have to give them, without you even asking them a question. They'll say, "I don't need to know anything about that woman." They're so close-minded
Hmm.
because they're scared that you might tell them something that shatters their reality, because in reality Donald Trump creates a safe space for people to feel like they're seen. People that otherwise didn't have an identity feel
So can
seen.
I say something real quick?
Yes.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, Dwayne, hold on one sec, because we finally got Pop on, and I want him to go ahead and speak because he was battling to get in here.
Thank you. I'm gonna tell you something. I've been trying to get this phone working, and I'm going in and out, so I've missed a lot. You guys, all of y'all have made a lot of comments that I can't even remember all of them, so I wouldn't even know where to start. But I'll start with the young lady. In regards to the MAGA hats, and that's on both sides. That's on both sides. It's not just a Republican thing. The Republicans haven't monopolized hate or bigotry. I'm gonna tell you, I was on the train the other day going home, and there was a woman and her husband who sat down at the table that I was sitting at. A bunch of small talk led into politics, right? So it was, and the woman, they were from California. They were going to Peekskill, I think, to go and see their grandchild for the first time. Long story short, the woman got into politics, and the first thing I said to her, because I'm in my dress down clothes, getting off of work, so a lot of times they'll assume a certain thing, but I said to her, "Are you sure you want to have this conversation?" I laughed about it because I love it. I live for this. The woman started talking about asking me who I was going to vote for. Or no, I'm sorry. I'll say it the way she said it. She said, I'm Jewish heritage. She said her husband was white. She said it to me just like that. I don't know what made her say that to me, but whatever. So I guess she wanted me to know she was Jewish. But then she asked me if I was voting, had I voted yet. I said to her, no. So she said, you're not going to vote for Kamala. No, she said, I know you're voting for Kamala, right? Kamala, I'm sorry. Kamala. We keep on saying her name wrong. Kamala. And I asked her what made her ask me that question. Because most people would assume if you're black, you're supposed to vote for Kamala or the Democrat Party, right? I mean, most of us were raised in Democrat families. So, we vote what we were raised in. And I told her I wasn't sure who I was voting for if I decided to vote. But then I took it a little bit further and I said to her, if I decide to vote, I'll probably vote Jill Stein. I like what she's talking about. I like the policies she's looking to implement. So the woman, she got extremely upset because she clearly was a Democrat and she wanted to know why. She asked me if I had children. Yeah. Do you have a daughter? Yeah. So her response was, how could you not vote for Kamala? She's a champion for women's rights, or women's right to choose. And she didn't like my response to her, because I told her I have a daughter and a grandson from this daughter. And she couldn't understand how me as a father wouldn't support Kamala even just for that. And I explained to her, when we get into politics, religion, certain things, our common sense goes out the door. Like I said to you earlier, young lady, about emotions over facts. The emotional part of it would say, yeah, I'm gonna vote for I'm gonna vote for the right for my daughter or my wife, my sisters, whomever, to be able to choose. I'm absolutely all for choice. Absolutely all for choice. I just don't want to have to pay for it. If you choose to do a thing, and this woman, when she heard that, she was outraged. She was upset with her husband because he didn't say nothing about it. Like, what do you mean? Like, what does that mean? What it means is that the fact of the matter is we went through 4 years of COVID and we lost our right as people, not as a woman, not as a man, as a whole nation, as a global community, to choose what we wanted to do with our bodies. So I find it interesting that when it's, when we want to make it fit, when we want to make a piece fit into a puzzle, we'll do that. I'm not gonna vote for a person, or I'm not gonna. I don't want to look at it as, okay, well, I should be against Trump because he wants to make it a state issue. This woman was, her heat towards me was incredible. And I couldn't understand it, but then I could understand it. People get set in their ways. We'll see something that's not there. I have never heard Trump say he was that he was against abortion. Never heard him say that. I heard the man say,
sir, yes,
hold on. Excuse me. Let me clear it up.
Okay, I
He
just
didn't
want
say
to
he.
check here.
No,
He
no,
said
no.
it.
I know. I'm going to make it very clear. The man didn't say he was against a woman's choice. He said he was against the federal government. He said it should be a state's issue because we have a bunch of states and they all have their own policies. Each state is a country within itself. The federal government oversees each country. He's saying each country should have their own individual right to create the laws that they want, which they have anyway. The marriage policies, the death policies, the drug, the even marijuana. Marijuana is legal in most places, right? But there's a lot, even with abortion. Abortion, they have different rules in different states. So he's saying it should not be a federal issue, and I agree. I absolutely agree. It should be a state issue. I don't even think it should be a state issue. It shouldn't even be a law. I think a woman should have a right to choose. I just don't want to have to pay for it. I think it's wrong. Kamala wants, just like Kamala wants to give transgender women in jail or transgender men in jail tax. Our taxes are supposed to pay for that. I think that's wrong. I don't think anybody should be upset if somebody's against these things. It's not that, you
Whoa,
know.
whoa, 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 wwhoa, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay,
I'm
you
sorry. I've been
yourself
on the
told
sideline, so
me,
it's a whole lot.
you
It's a whole
yourself
lot. So
told me about facts. Then you must
absolutely, come
ask
on.
yourself,
Yes.
they don't even want to pay for a prisoner to have to get dental care. Do you honestly think they're going to spend money, tax dollars, to provide gender reassignment surgery? You know how much that surgery costs?
Hey,
So,
listen,
I mean,
Kamala said it. Kamala said it a week or
that
two
part is
ago.
rhetoric, to be quite
Hold on,
honest.
hold on. It's absolutely not rhetoric. I don't listen to me. I don't speak if I can't back it up. All you have to do is you can do a quick search right now. Everybody got a
Yeah.
phone in front of them.
Hello,
A young
sir.
lady. Go
Yes,
ahead.
sir. Just how you said everybody has a phone, you can do some more research yourself. You said that Trump did not say that he doesn't support abortions. He said it, and he did brag about overturning Roe v. Wade and
Where did he
supporting.
say that
And
at? Where did he
you
say that?
got
Give
it,
a reference
sir.
point.
Sir, he has said it on an interview. You can
Give
research
a
it yourself.
reference.
Just
Give a reference. Give a reference.
sir, sir.
Trump's
I
so
Okay.
just told you.
hit on someone.
Hold on, hold on. I'll turn my camera off and I'll go and I'll
Yeah,
oh look,
you
somebody
can do that.
There's
so
one
wait
right
wait
here.
somebody put it somebody
He
put it in the
said it on
comments.
several interviews.
Thank you. Somebody put it in the comments. Trump
He
said,
actually
quote,
said he
Hold
actually
on.
said
One
he was
person at
a
a time so I can
father.
hear.
He said
oh
he
wait,
was a
hold on.
father
Thank you.
of pro-life. He was like, "You're the father of what now?"
Oh, can
He
you
actually
disconnect?
said that.
All right. Hold on. Him saying that he's the father of pro-life does not
I'm
mean that
sorry.
he champions a bill to take away a woman's rights.
They wanted to vote of the people. All Democrats wanted it.
Okay, so let's just
Hold on,
Hold on.
we got
Let
it.
the video
clear
We
play.
this
got it
up.
right here.
Let the video play. Let the video play.
We got it right here.
Because abortion is a smokescreen. Bottom line is, the minute that you allow the government, I don't care if it's state or it's
Wait, I
federal.
can't hear you.
I
Repeat
said,
that. I couldn't hear you.
I said abortion is a smokescreen. The moment that you allow federal or state to make it to
Hold
say
on, Miss
what
Letitia. Miss
a
Letitia, the
woman
video. Hold
can
on,
or
his
cannot
Miss
do,
Letitia. Hey,
huh?
his source is playing. I just want him to hear it because he said we had to pull up some sources.
You believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no? Is it principle? The answer is that there has to be some form of punishment. For the woman? Yeah, there has to be some form. 10 years. What? That I don't know. Why not? I don't know. You take positions and everything else. Frankly, I do take positions and everything else. It's a very complicated position. You believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no?
Hold on, we're gonna get you another source as well. What he said after 50 years.
But
We
wait a
have some
minute,
more
wait,
sources,
No,
sir.
wait, young
stop.
lady.
I just want to say
Just wait.
before she finds another clip. What I was
We
saying
got
is that
we have some
abortion is a
more
smoke.
clips. We have some more
No, wait a
clips.
minute. Abortion is a smoke screen. At the end of the day, what it's doing is creating a slippery slope. And the minute that you allow your whether it be federal or state to dictate what anybody can do to their body, you've opened up the floodgates for them to tell you what you can do about everything. So
I agree. We lived through that through COVID. I absolutely agree.
hang our hat on abortion. It's not about abortion.
Oh, I know. I know it's not.
Being able to choose what they want to choose for their body. Now, I agree with you in terms of what we're going to pay for and what we're not going to pay for. But here's the thing, and this is why I said I fall in the middle, because You have circumstances. If you have a child, right, that just got raped, and that child doesn't want to have that baby, and that mother doesn't have the ability to pay for that abortion, why can't your state step in and pay for that abortion? If that's
Because
what
the state doesn't step in and get her pregnant. If a woman gets raped, or if it's like they say, if a person gets raped or some incestuous thing, that's one thing. But if a woman goes out and has sex and gets pregnant, why should we have to pay for it? I'm sorry. Last time I checked,
no, we should not.
child support is not paid for.
We don't know. We don't believe in using birth. We don't believe that you should use abortion as a form of birth control.
There's a lot of women that do.
There's no woman on the planet who is going to tell
and we
you
all know women that have done that.
So, because abortion is not a man's issue, abortion is a woman's issue, and there is no woman on the planet who's going to tell you she believes in abortion. There is nothing to believe in. That's not a belief.
Why is abortion not a man's issue as well? Because if that woman,
it is not a man's issue because it is
physically is not a man's issue. Physically is not a man's issue, but if that woman chooses to or not to have an abortion, she controls what's going on with that man as well. And last time I checked, the state will absolutely come after a man if that woman decides to have that child and she wants to have that state come after that man.
No, the state will come after that man if she so employs the state to come after that man. The state
that's absolutely not true.
Come after him for child support. So that's
absolutely not true. I can tell you firsthand that's not true.
That is not the same thing. You talking about relationships between men and women that ain't got nothing to do with this.
I'm talking about the state's involvement. I'm talking about the state's involvement in that choice.
Listen,
this should not be on the table for a law. This shouldn't be on the table for a law.
You are exactly right. You are exactly right. And Roe v. Wade should have been left alone. It should not even been came back up. It should have been left alone.
Like I said,
as far as the Roe v. Wade thing, there's a reason why Roe v. Wade. To me, it's kind of unbelievable that we overturned Roe v. Wade when it was instated for such a long time. And it's just like, it's kind of like, if it wasn't broke, why fix it? Why did we come back to that? You know what I'm saying? So to me, that's very just unbelievable to me, in my opinion. So I just feel as though to me it's just unbelievable. So I just feel as though it wasn't broke. Why fix it?
Another way to divide us.
To piggyback on Thomas,
coming back and addressing it 50 years later, could it be simply another way to divide us, to keep us constantly at odds with each other?
Yeah. To piggyback on Thomas, I agree with what Thomas was saying. I think Roe v. Wade was something that wasn't broke, that didn't need fixing. I believe that it became a talking point, a strong talking point, but also it was the first clear evidence of an ulterior motive from a political party, where at one point you had two political parties that were assumed to be the same size of different sides of a same coin, if you will. And now it became evident as of Roe v. Wade that everything, that all the rhetoric that one side would talk about the other side, it actually came true. Where you say, don't vote for the Republicans because the country is going to change. Don't vote for the Democrats because the country is going to change. This was the first time that we actually voted, or rather lost a vote, and the country actually felt the brand. No, we didn't get a whole 10 to 100 miles long of wall, but we got some wall. You know what I'm saying?
And there's a lot of that material still sitting on the sideline.
Yeah, we got some wall, and we got some Roe v. Wade overturning too, and that right there was proof that you don't want to send things back to the state side, because that's how we'll go back into Jim Crow. That's how we'll go back into slavery. And if you think that it's not a game, if you think it's a game, if you think that it's not real, then why was Roe v. Wade overturned? Next is going to be Brown versus the Board of Education. They already started with kicking nonsense out of the schools in Florida. I mean, complete nonsense out of the schools. So it's
Dad,
like,
Can't,
I would like to jump in really quickly. I would like to jump in to state that Roe v. Wade being overturned, I don't think that the problem is that the states or the federal government or we as people are paying for it, because abortions can range from $500, $700, and typically the person getting it has to pay for it. Sometimes in special circumstances like rape or extreme poverty or incest, they will step in and pay for it. But I don't think that our health care should be monitored, or people should have to come out and trauma dump and explain and beg for health care, because next, it will be other things. Even on the ballot in North Carolina, they want to be able to amend the North Carolina Constitution to further requirements for voting, but they won't explicitly say. It states on there to for further qualifications, but they won't say, is that the poll taxes being back that were eliminated? Is that excluding people that aren't naturally born citizens? Is that excluding language barriers? What are the further qualifications? When you allow for progressive acts to be overturned, this isn't about. Somebody in the comments also stated about how it was overturned because of the Browning of America, dem, oh my gosh, sorry, demographic was
Demographic.
using. Yes, was using the abortion the most was white women, and the birth rates were dropping. If you follow what they've been saying, the birth rates have been dropping. This is the lowest birth rates have ever been, and soon they we won't be able to sustain ourselves, and they want to be able to force women to have abortions where women aren't having babies because of the school systems, because of politics, because of the economy, because of inflation, because they have to pay for childcare, they have to pay for health care, because rent has gone up, and that's the reason why women aren't having babies. And also women are becoming more self-sufficient and being more selective. And
all I'm gonna
what makes
say is, I'm sorry, baby. All I'm gonna
you
say is
good?
real quick, while it's on my mind, is it seems like a lot of the same talking points that they had for Hillary Clinton, except for at that particular time, Trump uh, had something that he could call her a criminal for, and he doesn't have that with Kamala, and so now it's just, oh, she can't be a president because um, the abortion should be with the states, and she's a woman, and and she shouldn't be, she doesn't think, and she's irrational, and she's not even educated, or all of the stuff that is kind of like the opposite of who she is. It's just kind of like, to me, it baffles me, and it just really further supports her even more, because it's kind of oblique. Oh, it's like glaring gaslighting. It's very obvious gaslighting, trying to make you just uh, believe something that isn't there. And with this one, I just believe that all of the Republicans, if they wanted to, save something for the black people, or mainly the black men, they should have said, you know what, this one, we're going to sit this one out. We're going to vote for Kamala. And within this 4 years, we're going to redevelop the whole Republican Party into the new Republican Party, the one that Trump said it was. But it's going to be more of kicking the MAGA out, more of kicking the white nationalists out, more of kicking the alternate white out. We're kicking all of that out, and we're going to make it a real black Republican Party. The same as how the Democrats did with the Democratic Party. They have a black section for that. It's just that
can I ask you a question? Oh, pardon.
black people kind of feel disenfranchised by the Democratic Party. They kind of feel taken advantage of by the Democratic Party. Well, if that's the case, then create your own damn party. But if you ain't gonna create your party, then stop standing behind white men, because white men ain't gonna
Hey,
have your best interest. They're gonna have
hey,
way less
Dad,
of your interest than any person of color or any gender or any sex. Point blank, period. Because we have how many presidents before us that has not had our interest? We had one black
not one of
president
them.
and
And
we had one black
he wasn't his
president
interest
and
either.
couldn't get shit passed, and got there going the Senate. My apologies for cussing. But the point that I'm making is if he would have came out as Herman Cain for the Republican Party, he wouldn't have been goddamn voted at all. He wouldn't have been elected at all. You know what I'm saying? The bottom line is, if you want something for black people specifically, not for Jews, not for Indians, not for Native Americans, not for Asians, you want it specifically for black people, go create your own daggone party. Because that's where we need to be at. We don't need to be with the independents, Jill Stein. She ain't going to get you to the presidency. She don't have enough voters. That's a waste of vote. You don't go with Kamala because she's too conservative, even as a Democrat. And you don't go with racist Donald Trump, who has all these daggone felonies. It's just not logical. What you do is you vote with the logical choice, which would be for Kamala this time, and in between this time, you create your own party. Point blank, period.
Yeah, I disagree with you, sir. I disagree with you. Like, you know, you were saying a lot, so I kind of miss it. You know, my attention span's a little different, so I can't keep up with y'all. But no, but so now you know what it is, because I get excited when it comes to certain things, and my mind just goes a mile a minute. So let me say this, right? So you said don't vote for the Green Party or a third party, right?
Hell no, it's the waste of vote.
No problem. Hold on, no problem. And there's going to be a lot of people who won't vote. But let me say this to you, right? We live in a society where you have a two-party system, right? And you hear that thrown around a lot. We should be upset about that. Like if we don't like Trump, right? And you have another side who doesn't like the Democrat Party, right? We know, like you said, why you don't like the Republicans, right? They're racist, they're this, they're that. But I would say the same thing about the Democrat Party. You know, when Biden came into office, right? Like last time I checked, we've been in this country for hundreds of years, if not longer than that. You know, I mean, some of us believe we've been here before the slave trade. No problem. That's another conversation, right? So we've been getting kicked in our ass, excuse my language, for a long time. Biden comes into office a year after he gets in. My dates might be a little off, but I'm pretty sure it's about a year. Him and Kamala, they passed an Asian hate bill. There's not one bill that we have to protect us as black people. However, we want to keep on supporting a party that we feel is protecting us. I would like to know, how are they protected? They've never. I'll be 50 years old next year. I just turned 49, right? And as long as I can recall, I can never say I can look back and see bills or even presidents that said, you know what, let me look out for these people right here. But an Asian hate bill? So, and you want to know who was included in the Asian hate bill? Indian people. Indian people were created in the Asian hate bill. Not the Indian people, the Native Americans here, but the Indians that are from India, Kamala's people. So yeah, I do have a problem. I don't think that we should not be able to speak up and hold fire to anybody's feet, whether it's Republican, Democrat, Green Party, whomever. I'm not voting Democrat because I'm supposed to or because I'm being shamed into it. I'll keep it 100 with you. I'm not voting for Trump this year. I voted for him the first time. I voted for Barack the first time. I didn't vote for him the second time. I didn't vote for Trump the second time. And I'll tell you, call me selfish. If it was about the money part of it, I would be voting for Trump again. I made the most money I've ever made in my life through my business when Trump was in office, right? I'm not voting for him this time because it's not just about money. I'm looking for something more than that. So Jill Stein represents that. I voted for Ralph Nader in the past. I didn't vote for Clinton. I voted for Ralph Nader years ago. My first vote was Ralph Nader. So it's not Jesus Christ. I need you to have, when we speak, it has to be about common sense. It's got to be about common sense. If you saying, okay, look, you know what, I want to create some kind of a change. Yeah, those polls, yeah, they might see the Democrats losing votes, but damn, people are voting for Jill Stein. People are voting for Ralph Nader, whoever's in that third party, Kennedy, whoever may be in that third party, Jesse Ventura, he ran. Why are Democrat votes going from?
You voted for Ross Perot too?
I didn't, but if I owned a business back then, listen, if I owned a business back then, if I understood what business was back then, I was a little young. I would have voted for Ross Perot if it was about money. This time it's not about money. I'm good in that area, so it's not about money. So I
Yeah,
have to look
I
beyond
feel
that. I'm
as
looking
though, I
for.
feel as though, I mean,
understand,
Hey, bro,
understand
you ain't
this
gonna be
though,
able to
that
call
big
me.
money
You
and
ain't gonna
stuff,
be able to
but
call
I
me
feel as
whenever you want to
though,
call me, and then have your hand out and ask me for your vote. That's just the bottom line. You ain't gonna be able to say. You ain't gonna be able to pull up all these sound bites of Joe Biden saying anything other than "if you don't vote for me, you're not black." Anything other than that,
That's a
and then the
big thing to
thing that he
say.
said back,
Who is
the
he to
thing he
say
said
that?
back
The
in the
nerve of him to
'70s.
say
Hold
that.
on, hold on. The thing he said back in the '70s during in Congress when he was working in the Senate. Other than that, you ain't gonna pull up too much else. But you can pull up
You. That's
from
not
now
true.
till
The man. The
tomorrow
man. The man.
sound
Do you
bites
understand
and
his
sound
relationship
bites
with
and
Bull
sound
Connor?
bites that go
Do
back
you
from
understand his relationship
Donald
with
Trump
Bull
all the
Connor?
way
Do you
back
know
to
who Bull
Sarah
Connor was?
Palin. Like, bro, like,
Do you
why
know
are we
who
gotta
Bull
keep
Connor
talking
was?
about people talking crap
uh,
about us,
okay,
and
well,
then at the same
okay,
time they got their hand out asking us for their vote? I'm not gonna give
well,
nobody that vote that just talk trash about me. That's just the bottom
but
line.
Well,
And I
yeah,
can pull up
you
a
know
if I
what?
can pull up a
you
sound bite
got, you
that
got
says
to,
Hillary,
you
somebody
got
Hillary,
to,
talk
at the
trash
end of
Hillary,
the
about
day,
you,
Hillary.
and then they
Trump,
ask you for a
like
vote,
he
are you
said,
gonna vote for them? Bottom
But
he
line,
Vote for
if
who?
somebody talk
actively
trash
is
wait
kind
a
of
about
minute.
you,
spitting on
bottom
black
line,
people
behind
in
your
his
back, and then they ask you for
campaign.
your vote, are you gonna vote for them?
Vote for
I'm
who?
never gonna give
Who?
nobody.
My thing is he gets on a campaign and disrespects black people like blatantly.
Where?
It's
Let me
kind
ask you a
of
question. Where did he
unbelievable if
disrespect a
you
black person? I look. I'm still looking. Look, I'm not saying he didn't.
He
I don't. I'll be
disrespect.
honest with you. I
I'll
don't.
answer
come
that.
on.
I'll
Listen.
I,
answer
Wait.
that.
Wait. Wait.
I can.
Wait. 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 Let me just
You
say this.
interrupted him,
Uh,
sir.
listen. Excuse me. Let me just because I want to make sure it's clear. If you're gonna respond to me, I just want you to respond to the right thing. That's all. If what I'm saying to you is, I would want to hear where the man disrespected black people, not just a 3 second clip where he said something about a shithole country. Right? I don't want
Hey
to
yo, it
hear that. I
doesn't
want to
matter,
hear
yo.
who.
He talking. It
Hold
doesn't
on.
matter.
Hold
If you
on.
even to
saw
Oh,
it
all
make
right.
and
So
you
America
can't
great
pull it up from
again,
the other side,
America
then
wait.
it's
wasn't
true.
great when
Listen.
If you saw him say that from one
Can
side
I?
and
I'm
you
Can
not
I?
didn't
trust.
hear,
Can I
I'm gonna
get
mute
my point out?
everybody. I'm
Can
gonna
I?
mute everybody. I'm gonna mute everybody. So yeah, we're not at this point. We're not really having an intelligent conversation because, like always, politics evokes crazy emotions. And so, but what we want to absolutely do is stay respectful because at the end of the day, none of us are each other's enemy. Well, I feel comfortable in saying, right, that we all want the same thing for each other. Period. Unfortunately, none of us really know exactly how that's going to come about. And so we all believe in various things. And because we all believe in various things, at the end of the day, we got to respect each other for each other's belief. Now, Charles, you said you haven't heard Trump disrespect black people. I don't understand that. But if you didn't hear it, then I can't say what you heard or what you did not hear. But it happened.
Miss Letitia,
Regardless
can I
of
step in?
regardless to who we support or what have you, this wasn't, again, this conversation was not supposed to be about what Trump said or he didn't say, what Kamala said or she didn't say, right? We're trying to understand why, if in fact black men are disenfranchised with Kamala Harris, and if they are, look, let it be for something valid and legitimate, not because of the various sound bites, not because what you think she was supposed to have done as a vice president, what that she really couldn't do. Let it be for something. And please, if you're going to say that Trump is a more viable, valid candidate because he did something for you, please understand that from a economy standpoint, he did nothing. What he did was he came in on somebody else's economic plan and ran it into the ground. And so now we got Biden trying to clean up what Trump ran into the ground. And so any business, your business right there flourished during the Trump era. It flourished because of the laws and the things that Obama put in place. And as soon as Trump got an opportunity to start knocking them off the table, he did. And so now you got Biden on this side trying to bring it back up, but Biden looks bad because Biden is trying to clean up what somebody else messed up, and he's so busy trying to clean up what somebody else messed up that he can't do what he said he was going to do.
That's not true.
And
That's not
we
true.
That
all
is
know.
true, sir. That is true. We are under Trump's
It's
Very
not
cabinet.
true.
true.
It's not true.
That's
It's
It's
very
not
true.
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 How?
That's very true.
No,
That's
no.
Sir,
fact.
you gotta,
Explain.
sir,
Explain the facts, sir.
We every
we're
look,
trying
look,
to explain
No,
without
no.
getting
yeah,
One
look,
person.
so,
One person.
look,
I'm
I
look,
got it. I got it. I got
I'm
it.
making
Can I get it? Can I get it? Can I get it? Can I get it? Can I get it?
I'm making
Can I
it real
get it?
simple
Let
for you with
him.
Social Security. I'm gonna make it real simple for
Let.
you with Social Security.
Okay.
Okay.
If you look
Just
at Social Security, right? The money that you make today and the Social Security, the money that you pay into the Social Security system is not there for you. That money is paying for the Social Security of all of the generations before you, like your mother, my mother. We pay for their Social Security. So now when it comes time for us to retire and start collecting Social Security, if nobody has replenished that pot, there is no Social Security. So it's always acting on what happened before. So if somebody
All right,
doesn't
but what's
do
the point?
if somebody didn't do it, if somebody messed it up here in this one space, the person on the next space has to clean up what was messed up in this space. If it was good in this space, then the person who comes after them enjoys the goodness of that space. And if that person ain't smart, they don't continue what was done in this space, and they messed it up in this one, the person that comes after them has to clean. I mean, that's just logical.
Yeah,
If
but
you
I don't
find the
understand. What's the point,
simplest
though?
thing,
What you trying to make?
It's what she's to piggyback on what she's saying is basically in order for change to occur, it's a slow progress that requires three branches of government over a substantiated level of time, and in order to do that, one political party, in my experience, has to stay in office long enough for that change to be enacted. Obama came into office in 2008 with an economical plan. He bailed some companies out, and he had a plan for other things as far as our economy. And he said that it was a 10-year plan, and that in order for it to work, we had to be in office throughout that time. Just when the plan started to act, the Republicans voted Trump into office, and the plan went to hell, and we got COVID, in which Obama left the plans to prevent for Donald Trump that he ignored because it was sent by Obama. And if
So you
by the
do.
man by the man who fathered Obamacare, affordable health care, and that he couldn't replace, that he couldn't better, that he couldn't top, even though it wasn't perfect, he couldn't make it perfect, he couldn't make it better. And so, because this man left him instructions on how to deal with an upcoming epidemic, and he wanted to take credit for solving an epidemic, and he wanted to use that as leverage for a campaign, he let 400 plus thousand people die in this country alone. And just to say that he could save somebody with a vaccine, and he didn't even come up with the vaccine until after he was voted out. And he already tried to storm the Capitol while people out here wearing masks, and he out here storming Capitals. Yeah, I know. Freddie Gray died, and we were supposed to be on lockdown, and all the Democrats ran the streets because black people don't like seeing black people get killed by the police. It don't matter if we wearing masks. It don't matter if we being shut down. It don't matter when. We don't like seeing that type of stuff. So, yeah, we ride it, and yeah, we threw this daggone country upside down. But that's what we do all the time whenever we see injustices done to our own people. And that's why we vote
That's
the way that we
nonsense.
vote.
That
But
that
the
that right
thing
there
that
is a
I saw,
nonsense
is
statement.
I
That's a
saw that
nonsense statement.
when President Bush was the president, we had gas hikes, we had a real estate crash, we had a straight up Wall Street crash that was the equivalent of the 1930s Great Depression. And then Obama had to come in and fix that. And then we leave the office, and Trump comes in, and he throws us into an epidemic globally. because we're the leaders of the free world. So if we could have stopped the epidemic in our country, we probably could have stopped it around the whole daggone world. But you know what? That's neither here nor there. We had to come
How did
back in
Obama
office
save the
and
how
put
did
the
Obama
economy
save the
back together,
economy?
and we had to repair everything that Obama had in place. We had to repair that with the Biden administration. But what's crazy is that Obama economical plan was so strong that it went through his administration, it went through Trump's administration and the pandemic, and it still recovered under the daggone Biden administration. That's why the
Sir,
Biden
where did you get the
administration don't
information
take
from?
credit for the economy. That's why they
Where
don't
did you
take
get the
credit for the
information
economy.
from? Where did you get the information from? Because
I
you
was
don't
living for
understand how
45 years.
economics
I
work.
saw it, yo. Hey, bro, I saw it. I lived here for
Listen.
45 years. Hey, yo, I lived
No,
here for
Listen,
45
listen.
years.
can
You
I
can't
please talk? Because
gaslight my eyes. You
can I
can't
please talk?
gaslight my eyes, my man. You're
Wait,
not going to
no.
gaslight my
Let
eyes.
me
I
say
seen
this.
what I
Dwayne,
seen,
Wait,
bro.
Dwayne,
Like
Dad,
I said,
Dwayne,
look,
and
I'm
Pop.
49
can you
years
let me?
old.
Can y'all
Dwayne and
let
I
me
was
Pop.
here
Hold
then.
on,
finish?
So what are you
Please.
talking about? If you
Dwayne,
Hold on,
49, you
Dad.
Listen,
here. You talk.
Dad and
exactly.
Charles, can I waited patiently? I just wanted to
go
talk,
ahead,
please.
Taylor.
Thank you. Hi, I called this meeting. I called this podcast. I would like a chance to talk.
This podcast.
Charles. Yes, I would like a chance to speak. Thanks, Dad. Thanks for everything that you said. Charles, I wanted to respond to some stuff that you've been saying because even though people have been explaining stuff to you and it just seems like you want to be a contrarian and I would like to speak without being interrupted. Trump has disrespected black people. Trump, like I was gonna state this, but I want to come and give a shout out to the comments. Vanessa Vanessa has stated as well that he called a full page ad to black and brown children for their execution for a crime that they did not commit, nor did they plead guilty. And in his recent debate with Kamala, he stated that they pled guilty, that they murdered someone. The woman is very
He
much
said he
alive
was not
right
going to
now.
change his view.
Yes, he even when he was president, he refused to apologize. He put more lies on these men that spent over 40 years in prison, were fully exonerated, and he's being sued by them for spreading more lies and tarnishing their character and reputation. Again, over something that he's already done before when they were children. Also, he was being sued and is still being sued over racist practices in his casinos and in his businesses, refusing to rent to black people. He has been racist to Asian people, calling it the Chinese virus, and Corona is an Asian
But it
virus.
was.
He's been racist to.
It was. We could say Spanish flu, we could say Ebola, but we can't say China virus.
Well, Ebola is not what is
It's not
Ebola?
a.
Ebola,
That's not
Ebola.
a disease.
That's yeah. It's in Africa.
It's
It's
not
a
an
region in
ethnicity.
Africa.
It's not an
It's a region in
ethnicity.
Africa.
That's a.
Okay,
It's not
Spanish
an
flu. All right,
ethnicity.
I
Spanish
think
flu.
he's got a. I think he. Yeah,
Spanish flu.
But
I
Spanish
think
flu that was coined in 1920.
1919.
Right,
1919, 1920.
right. We
It
not
doesn't
talking about.
matter.
We talking about now.
yeah, I
We
So
think
we
it's
hold
told
on,
you
hold
that.
on,
We
hold
talking
on.
about now. We talking about today. Because
Wuhan. I'm
people
sorry.
was ignorant.
Wuhan is in China,
Ignorant in
correct?
1919. People were ignorant in
Wuhan
19.
is
Look,
in
they called
China.
us niggas in
Wuhan is in
1990.
China, right?
you.
What?
Wuhan is in China, correct?
You want to
So
come talk?
Wuhan's in China. Fauci said the virus came from Wuhan.
Come on, do it, Kim.
so you're saying that it was okay for him to call it the Chinese virus, and then
I'm not saying it was okay. I'm not saying it was
well,
okay, but what I'm saying to you is how can you
why?
say it's not okay if we have these terms already?
But they were not a term. That was a phrase that he coined. And no,
No,
CDC
I
didn't
said
call it the Chinese
you're
It
not
virus.
was called
listening.
the
You're not listening to me.
coronavirus.
You're not listening to me. You're not listening to me.
So you
If
no.
we have
So
the
what
Spanish
We're
flu, if
listening
we
to
have
you. We just don't
problem
agree
is
with
that
you.
you
we have the
justifying how
German measles. We have the
ridiculous.
German measles. I mean, come on, like yeah, you guys, you can't pick and choose when you want to put up an argument. Like if a fact is a fact, go with the fact. Don't get emotional. I'm not a Trump fan.
Okay,
I'm
well,
not.
no,
No,
okay, but
sir,
I'm
wait a
you're
not
minute.
the
voting
only
for Trump.
Just
person, sir,
because
you're the
something
only
is
person
called
getting
the Spanish
emotional. We keep
flu,
trying to tell you
just
the
because
facts, and you
something is
keep.
called German measles, just
Hold on.
because something
Miss
is
Letitia,
called
Miss Letitia,
hold on a second, is
can I
called
respond to
the
him,
Chinese
please?
flu. Hold on a second. that doesn't necessarily make it right. And so why?
I didn't say it did.
Why
I
would
did
you
not
turn
say it
around
did.
and keep repeating something that is clearly wrong?
Mr. Teacher,
Look,
can I
first of all, I
respond?
didn't.
Because he
Yeah, young
interrupted me.
lady, respond.
I would like to finish. Sir,
Only
you keep
because you're
saying,
saying things that need to be
no,
addressed. Go ahead,
sir,
young
you
lady.
cannot interrupt me. Please
I
stop.
apologize. I apologize. Your father interrupted me. I apologize, but go
Okay,
ahead.
that's my father. I'm a different
You're right.
person. We are two different
You're
people.
absolutely right.
Thank
You're
you.
right. My
I was
apologies.
just going to say, you keep saying, oh, facts over feeling. When people try to provide you the facts, and if you want to do your own research, you can. People in the comments were all trying to provide you the facts, and you keep dismissing it. And then
I didn't see it.
when
I didn't see it. I'm in this group
just
right here. I
because you
couldn't see
didn't
it.
see it doesn't mean it's real. You got to do your own research, just how we did.
I wouldn't open my mouth if I
You can't
didn't.
just
You can't just
okay,
take a
but you
3-second
if you're
clip
saying you
and
can't
say it's
see
fact.
something, you can't. I know if
A
I know
clip, a
something is
clip
fact,
is
that means
that.
I did my research, sir. You are going off of
No,
what you
I
didn't
see you
see.
reading off the
If you
screen.
didn't
I see you
see it,
reading off the
sir,
screen.
let me finish. If you didn't see it, you cannot have any bearing to say it's not fact because you didn't see it. If you didn't research, that means you didn't see it. If you didn't see it,
So
you
then say
cannot
it. Say it.
disqualify. I have stated plenty of times, go on Google Scholar, go on the CDC. Where did the CDC ever say that coronavirus is the Chinese virus? That is a term that was
I didn't
coined
say
by.
that. I did not say that. I said Trump called
You
it. I
said
said
didn't
Trump
no
called it the
no
China
you said
virus.
didn't it? You said isn't it the Chinese
I
virus?
said
Didn't it come?
Fauci said it was in Wuhan. I said Fauci said that it started in the lab in Wuhan. Go and do
We
you
got
do your facts. I don't.
sir, we have witnesses. What are you trying to get? We
Do your
have three
witnesses work for the
witnesses.
NIH? Do your
We
witnesses
have
work for the NIH?
witnesses.
I think
Look at the NIH papers. Look at the NIH paperwork. Listen to what Fauci said. He's the one who was running. Listen, lady. Look,
I
young
think
lady.
Oh yeah,
far as
let's
the
Thomas.
no, I'm saying, I mean, far as the Chinese flu, and I mean, I didn't mean to say Chinese flu. I meant the basically, yeah. Well, as far as that, I feel as though that's a very small point to what Jayla was trying to convey, and we can spend a lot of time going back and forth about whether the virus actually did originate in China and stuff like that. But that I feel as though that's like that's not the point that she was trying to make, and we should be kind of focusing on, because the thing is, we going back and forth to see who has effect, who doesn't have effect. We could, go and look and then bring it to the screen, but that's wasting time to what we actually could be talking about. So I feel like, that's, to me, I feel like that's a small piece to what Jayla was trying to convey. And I feel as
Point
though she
taken.
had a
Point
lot,
taken.
lot to say. I want you to finish what you was actually going to say and stuff.
So then let's go back to what the thing is about. Kamala, right? So let's go back to that. So we don't argue. I don't want to argue and go back and forth and fuss because it takes away from what this platform is about.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen. So
Hi, I just wanted to respond to a comment that said, why does she need witnesses? This is clearly not a safe conversation. Actually, this is a safe conversation. I was responding to the fact that he stated that he didn't say something that he did. I'm over
I
at
never said he
my
didn't.
friend's house because this is exact. I'm just responding to a comment. I'm not talking to you, Charles, or talking at you, Charles. I'm talking to somebody in the comments that said, why do I need witnesses? He stated that he didn't say something that I remember he said that I clearly heard 2 minutes prior, and we have other people in the room that heard as well, that are just bystanders in the room doing their own thing. That is why I don't need witnesses.
So
Yeah, well, good luck. I'm glad we got the rewind button. But go ahead, T.
Yes. Also, this is a live conversation as well.
Right, and it will be saved, and it's everybody is more than welcome to go back and watch the replay. I want to first say that I think there is nothing lost on these type of conversations. I assure you that there has been things that were said that people will go and do their own research on. I said in the beginning that this conversation was not meant to change anybody's mind about what they were going to vote on, who they were going to vote on, where, or if they were even going to vote at all. It is important that we have these type of conversations in our communities. The ultimate goal of this platform is to educate. Look, my dear friend Vanessa, I love her with every fiber of my being. She correct my grammar. She correct when I misspell a word, and I'm 100% all right with that, because I need people in my corner, in my life, right, who are going to give me pause, give me something to think about, who are going to challenge me. But at the same token, right, if I don't fall in line, don't get upset, because at the end of the day, I believe what I believe. My perception of a thing is my perception of a thing. I don't have the right to tell nobody else that their perception or their views are right or wrong. Each one of us stand in a different spot in this world. With different experiences, we bring different experiences to the table that have impacted why we feel the way that we feel, why we move the way that we move, and we do what we do. And so at the end of the day, though, I can't say nobody is right. And nobody is wrong. But what I will say is that as we continue to have these conversations, so first and foremost, Thomas and Jayla, right? They are both there. What you call it, Jayla? They are millennial Gen Zers. So she told me some term. I never even heard the term, but um, at the end of the day, the two of them represent a younger generation. Dwayne and Charles and myself, we're in the generation before them.
Dad, mute yourself, please, Dad.
It's necessary. I got him. It's necessary for these two different generations to be having these conversations, because our generation doesn't have all the answers and their generation doesn't have all the answers. But together, because we are literally in this pot together, right? We should all be able to respect each other enough to come together and have conversations, right? And learn and strive to do better, to get it, to do better, to get it better, to shed new light on things that we didn't necessarily know about. I would say every time I host one of these podcasts, I always walk away with learning something that I didn't know before. And so, if not for nothing, look, this is my classroom. I'm learning, but I hope that it be a classroom for other people too, and I hope that it will spawn people to go out there and get involved in whatever capacity they feel like they want to get involved in. I commend Jayla for going out there and serving on someone's campaign. I've never done that. I will be honest and say I was never really interested in doing that. At this point in time in my life, I'm probably not going to do that. But there are other things that I can do to help further the cause, to help educate the masses. Like I said, if not for nothing, continue to have this platform so that we all can continue to have these type of conversations and come to some type of common ground where we can attempt to make this world better for our children and our grandchildren, our great grandchildren, and so on and so forth. So with that being said, I appreciate every single person who joined today, who engaged us in this conversation. I respect every single person who gave a comment. I pray for everybody's continued safety. If you have not voted yet, and you plan on voting, I ask that you be careful on Tuesday, because look, I think we can all agree it's going to be a real different kind of day on Tuesday. So be vigilant, be aware, um, and be safe. Um, I can't tell you when I will be back with the next episode, because I'm hiring. Like I said earlier, I'm hiring for a co-host. But again, I wanted to do this. Jayla asked me, and I'm so happy that I did. And I hope you're satisfied with the overall conversation. There is no harm, no foul. Dwayne, love you. Charles, love you. Right? I hope Look, we get passionate about what we passionate about. You know, but at the end of the day, I think we respect each other, and at the end of the day, we all still want the same things. So again, I thank everybody. I say I got some comments. Nessa said definitely eye opening. Diane said let's do it. Um, uh, Misha says she aspires to do that one day. Jayla, so I guess she wants to go on a campaign trail and help support. Tasha says it takes a village, as the elders say. Absolutely. And then learning is earning. Learning is earning. What's your real name? I feel like that's one of my family members, but I don't really know who that is. I feel like it's a family member, but not sure. But thank you all. I appreciate you so much. I want to give each one of my guests 1 minute to give a closing statement, and then we're gonna be out. Just 1 minute, and you should go over that 1 minute. I'm gonna mute you. So I'm gonna start with Jayla, and then Thomas, and then Dwayne, and then Charles. 1 minute, and I got my timer going.
Okay, I just want to say thank you everybody for coming. Thank you for
Brandon. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait.
Oh.
Brandon, look, there go my co-host, Brandon Hayes. Learning is earning.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, look, I need you to come back home. Why you leave me out here like this? All right, I'm sorry, Jalen. Go ahead.
I just want to say thank you, Miss Letitia, for allowing me to come back on here. I enjoyed my first time on here. I love working with you. You are an amazing mentor to me. Thank you for Thomas being on here. That's my partner. We're currently in a different state right now. I just got off the plane an hour ago, so I just seen him today. Thank you for my dad. My dad is my biggest mentor. I really love him. You can tell he gets very passionate about things, which I've learned to get passionate to keep up with him. Thank you for joining in, Charles, and being a contrarian and providing a different perspective to this conversation. Thank you for everybody that voted, no matter who you voted for, and thank you for everybody in the comments. Thank you, Miss Diane. I was hoping somebody would show up for me, and Miss Diane did, and I love you so much. Thank you for everybody else in the comments. Vanessa had a lot of good things to say. I think it's pronounced or Michael. I don't want to pronounce it wrong.
Michelle.
Michelle. She said a lot of good things I would see in the
Mhm.
comments. Learning is earning. I just seen so many good things, and this is a very engaging talk and engaging chat, and I'm just very grateful and glad that we were able to have this, no matter how passionate or how calm or however it turned out. I just feel
Yeah,
very proud of
right
myself.
time. Thomas.
That's what's up. Yeah. First, I want to say thank you to everybody that's on the podcast. I appreciate everybody's perspective. Special thank you to Jayla. You know, it was our idea, but it was really like her idea. I was with it, but she's very passionate. As you can tell, she went to the rally and everything. She breathes politics. So I want to say thank you to her. I just want to say most basically thank you, and I just want everybody watching, just make sure you vote. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell people you see on the street, just vote. Regardless of who you vote for, vote. I know who I want people to vote for, but I'm like I said, whoever y'all want to vote for, just make sure y'all vote. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you, Mr. Dwayne. 1 minute, sir. Wait. Let me unmute you. Okay, go ahead.
Well, thanks everybody again for having me on. Thanks to everybody that came on. I want to just express the significance of voting and how change does come through voting, even though we're controlled by electoral colleges and other things take place in order for change to happen, and change happens slowly, and it doesn't seem like it particularly matters to you. Happens to you or affects you particularly. Change does happen, and it happens through voting. And don't give up your vote. Don't be irresponsible with your vote. Understand that we have things in place that are in place, and if you want to change them, then they are changed by voting. You want a three party or four party or eight parties, political parties. You got to vote. Period. And that's my only point: is voting is important. Y'all, thank y'all.
Thank you. All right, Charles.
Thank you. Real quick, Jayla, may I ask you how old you are, young lady?
I was muted. I'm
I
sorry.
can't.
I'm 22. I'm 22.
You're 22. All right, so you're about the same age as my daughter. I can tell by the fire you got in you. And I respect your dad because my daughter's the same way. So good high five to your father to me when you see him. I'm gonna keep it real quick. I just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate it. This is my first time being on a platform like this, or at least being able to speak in this arena. So thank you for the invite. As far as voting, I tell my daughter, I've told my children, you know, I'm not a huge fan of like big votes, presidential and all that. I think that you start in your household. What your dad is doing with you is amazing. You start with your household. Your household spills into your neighborhood, your community, and then you attack local government and so on and so forth. But I think that you keep doing what you're doing. I would love to see you running for local government, maybe something bigger than that, because I do like your energy and your fire. And that's all I want to say. I'll keep it easy this time.
So Charles is my first cousin. And we had a rather extensive conversation going on earlier in our group chat. So some of our other cousins, they punked out on us, but that's all right. I knew Charles would be here. But
Oh yeah,
of course. But again, thank you all very much again for spending your Sunday evening with us. Please be safe. I love and appreciate you all. And until next time, I will. Really quick, I'm not on Facebook. Facebook deactivated my account, so I can't advertise like I used to. I need to get with Jayla and probably Brandon to figure out how to advertise the platform. But you see, my YouTube is still up. I'm not getting another Facebook page. I refuse to get another Facebook page because they stole memories from me, and I will not give them the opportunity to do it again. So Facebook is dead. But I still have my Instagram.
I don't blame you.
I still have my YouTube channel. So when I figure out how that Instagram thing works, because that's I'm not. I figure out how the Instagram thing works, then I will definitely be putting ads and what have you on there. But until then, yeah, stay tuned. I promise to do something before the year is out, just to like kind of touch base and wind up this year. and maybe Brandon will be on with me by that time. We're gonna figure out a date that works for he and I, so we can close out the year. But good night, everybody. Stay safe. Love you all. And I listen. I'm praying for our country. All right.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you.
Unspoken Conversations. Your words have power. Our goal is to educate and inspire positive action that will motivate change and understanding. Thank you for joining us.